Okay, great. Let me basically copy what they did before and changing it to today. Let me share out my screen. All right, cool. Um, does anybody have any action items specifically today? Let me get rid of this if anybody wants to add any notes or any action items.
I have a suggested, a proposal for moving forward here. I guess the last few meetings they were more, educational in terms of, leveling the common knowledge, not leveling the what we know, what we understand about confidential virtualization in general. Uh, but now I guess it's time for us to actually start defining a dependency chain or a path of what we need to start tickling, closing in order to move forward with the in-flight proposals, for example.
Yeah, I did have a question on how KubeVirt generally handles this. Maybe it's in the docs somewhere, but do we deprecate uh, features ever, or is that like its own thing?
I think it was suggested that we can declare that API or feature as experimental, and that would imply no, let's say, no hard dependency, no hard feelings if we break it. But
Okay.
again, I think same as you, Alan. I'm not a native KubeVirt member. Been just, trying to help with the confidential Virt pieces. Uh, so I was hoping either, Vladik or Stu, maybe. I don't see the list of people attending today, but is
Jen
there
is
anyone
here.
who can help us?
Um, yeah, so for APIs, whatever is in alpha, so it's behind the feature gate and marked as alpha, can change or disappear. It's fair game. As soon as we graduate to beta, then the API is not supposed to change.
So, but
Okay.
that alpha and beta is a cycle in KubeVirt. It's not possible for us to kind of declare that API as alpha indefinitely, or
Well, an alpha feature is meant to graduate as beta at some point.
okay. So we're not talking about alpha and beta cycles for KubeVirt. We're talking about specific features and APIs, right? So we can tag that as alpha indefinitely.
Yes, each feature gate is tagged out either alpha or beta.
Okay. So that works, looks like.
Okay, then I guess I had a question on how we're going to handle launch security. I talked about this last time. Are we going to do it by vendor? Or I think how the Intel one is doing it was kind of, I think, what the direction we had decided on, maybe. Uh, TDX here. Oh, I didn't see that you responded. Sorry. Uh, I thought something right here would be like Intel and then the technologies under Intel, like TDX and then whatever comes after TDX.
Hmm. How are you doing in AMD?
Right now, I think they have it just like this, where it's just as SEV. But to me, I think the user might get confused and enable both by
Mhm.
accident. And I just wanted to see what the community was thinking. I know this is basically just the type within the launch security XML. So I wanted it to know if I should just keep doing that.
Hi, Alan. Do you mean using both the vendor name and the technology like AMD SEV?
Yeah, like if you have AMD SEV and then you enable AMD SNP, that should fail. But I think that would confuse users.
Yeah, just uh, maybe I think it's a little bit duplicate if we use both AMD and SEV, because I think from the liberals a large security perspective, SEV is a technology from AMD, so I'm not sure if it's a little bit duplicate to set both. So when we talk about SEV or SMP, it's AMD's technology, and when we talk about TDX, oh, we know it's Intel's technology. So if we add AMD under the latch security and then SUV under AMD, so it's I'm not sure if it's yeah, I'm not sure if it's duplicate.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but as far as that kind of goes, I think what we're kind of following here with libvirt is the domain launch security, and within the launch security you have your type. So I think it makes sense to have these two separated because you're constructing this XML for them. So I think this would be fine, like having them as two separate. I guess we would just have to be explicit in the docs. Uh, I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
do
no,
have a
but this
branch
is
already that does this, but I just wasn't sure.
yeah. No, this is a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, this is actually mapping into what libvirt is expecting. So, I mean, using libvirt, I mean, own uh, on syntax and on, I mean, what it considers to be enumerators or not. I mean, I guess it could be a good way to start this, right?
Right. Which, so then if we're going like by that logic, I think not separating it by vendor makes the most sense, and just doing it how this one is like how this one is going, because this matches to the type attribute and the type
And then
attribute, and it's basically up to all its configurations. But there is more
yeah,
attributes that you could add, such as the kernel hashes, and I wasn't sure if that just should go under like an attribute of the type.
And that's something that's available to both types, right?
What kernel hashes?
The kernel hash, yeah, or is it specific to Sev?
Um I think it's specific to Sev, but Sev and Sev and SEV SMP, but um yeah, you can have kernel hashes, but it's only valid if you're doing a direct kernel boot. So we would have to I would have to add some logic here to validate that you're using a direct kernel boot, if otherwise you should fail.
Yeah, just having it separated by type then, and having that with Sev or and the other one that you mentioned makes sense. I just wanted to highlight that Vladik, who's not on the call, has previously said that from a KubeVirt API point of view, he would prefer a simplistic kind of way of a user requesting all of this and having kind of same defaults that we then pick up depending on what technologies are available in the environment. But an argument I previously made was that we need to plumb this stuff in as simply as possible to begin with, and we can kind of work backwards and on the KubeVirt side potentially generalize this and have another way of requesting a certain level of launch security later on once this more kind of verbose path is already in place and we can figure out a nicer way of expressing this in a cross technology kind of way. I think it's difficult. It's going to be difficult for folks to kind of work that out ahead of all of this being implemented.
I agree. I agree. This was what I was talking about in one of the meetings earlier this year. I think those two things can actually coexist side by side. I mean, we start by defining, I mean, there's some simple security types for SCV, SNP, or TDX, maybe even CCA, if we are brave enough to do that, and Z secure and stuff like that. And then, I mean, then the same namespace, we can actually have a simple, let's say, confidential, right? I don't think any I don't think anyone will take that name, right? And then on the confidential, we can actually try to make it more generic and leave it to the scheduler to actually, I mean, pick up. I mean, what is the best uh, um, candidate for doing? I mean, the set of things that we are asking in the content in the confidential tag, right? So both of them, I guess, can be, or we can, I mean, deprecate things around. I mean, if we decide that this is a better idea at the end of the day. But I think that we won't be able to find a same minimal common denominator, I mean, minimum common set of things for us to just go at the confidential generic tag just now. We should keep them separate and then uh, create something else to consolidate.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think something like kernel hashes should be an option for them to enable, but um, like I think basically what he has right here, I think is really good. Basically, have the basic. If you have this, it's enabled, and then you add these configurations. I think this is a good start. Um, how would we handle attestation? I know that was a topic that no one really had an answer to yet.
I think we started with we don't initially, right? In this first instance of confidential, attestation is going to be an exercise left to the guest owner, right? To the person responsible for that, right? I think it's going to be an interesting bootstrapping problem, right? I mean, so how do you actually bring up a VM then? I mean, it's going to need to exist. A pre-existing image is going to need to be used, and then that pre-existing image is going to need to be already configured to reach out for an attestation server and then lock itself. But it's a way it's a way to start. Anything more advanced than that, it's gonna maybe it's gonna be back on okay, maybe too complex for a first instance of this, right?
Yeah, I think currently right now SEV has some kind of attestation. I noticed that in the code, but I wasn't sure how do people currently do that with KubeVirt or
I think it's what Klaus said. So it's up to the VM image itself to figure it out, and there's a kernel unified API to get the quote from the underlying platform, and that's more like vendor agnostic platform, vendor agnostic interface config fs TSM that the applications would use inside the guest. This wouldn't be like visible on the KubeVirt side or on the host.
okay. So then with so I'm assuming I need to change this then from I don't know if you guys see this? Um, so I have this example as a launch security, and I added just an AMD S&P, but now that I'm looking at it, it should be more just like this. This would probably be simpler. And this is enable true right now, but I do have things like for options like policy, and it's like censoring.
Isn't SNP an AMD specific term?
It is. That's why I was like, this is why I'd originally have it like this, because it's AMD, and then under AMD you could do SEV.
Can't we just be vendor agnostic but use a more descriptive name than the actual acronym? Like replace SNP with what it actually is.
AMD,
AMD
SEV, like that.
dash S&P, yeah.
What I meant was more like a generic name for whatever SNP is.
Oh, okay, well, we were
Uh,
discussing that I mean we probably are not ready to just use
Right.
a generic confidential because we don't know what is the minimal set of attributes that, or at least we will get, I mean, drown into the debate of, I mean, what is the minimal set of attributes we need to implement, right? And miss everything else.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
okay. I was kind of just keeping like mapping to what LibVirt was doing, but they have this, and I'm pretty sure that's not kosher. So this would have been something I would have guessed, SEV SMP.
Out even that AMD, it might be a problem for I mean, since all those things are trademarks, I'm not sure if you guys in the KubeVirt community are okay with using trademarked names, right, as part of the code. But
Oh yeah, I have no idea how that works.
That's a good point. I'm sure we have Hyper-V references in the API somewhere.
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure if that was ever checked or discussed, but we can check on our side.
Yeah, probably non-concerned. It's not like we are, I mean, falsely advertising what the I mean, or claiming that or anything, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's a good thing to keep in mind. I did have another question on how uh, it converts this into an XML. Uh, oh no, I don't have it. When I was looking at the code earlier, it was using an interesting I think this is it. This is how so I was trying out how to run this on libvirt by myself, and this is what the the actual Virt launcher dump XML has, and I was wondering why it's set to custom instead of host pass through. Okay, so I guess
Hi, Alan.
yes.
Do you mean you need to set the CPU mode to host pass-through instead of the custom?
Right, no, but this is what the Virt launcher does for SEV or SCV SNP. Like this is the actual Virt launcher verse dump XML.
Actually, I think maybe we can set CPU mode in the virtual machine instance. You know, the VM the virtual machine YAML file, and set it to host directly. So it will use. I just forgot. I just forgot it. I used to do some testing with SMP. Uh,
Okay.
I can share a sample. I can share sample VM YAML file later to you.
Okay.
And
Yeah, this is verse uh dump XML. Yeah, but I just wanted to see if this was correct. Because I did also notice that all these policies were added, specifically this one, the architecture capabilities. But if you go look at the actual command, it's actually not set to false. So I just wanted to see, I just wanted to make everybody aware because I was not sure what was going on. But okay, that's all I have for this. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up, any pending issues? I take that as a no.
sorry, I was
Oh,
taking a while to find the damn mute button here. Sorry. Not my default video call system here. Um, as I mentioned, I mean, can we think of, let's say, what are the things we need to push this forward? I remember, I mean, a little list of things. I mean, I think somebody mentioned, well, we need hardware, right, to to do the test or maybe put them in a CI infrastructure in place. That's one thing. The other one was okay. I mean, I guess we kind of are establishing here that we don't need a generic. I mean, a minimal set of properties. We can go with SEV and TDX separately, at least for now. Is it fair? Is it interesting that we try to join those two proposals into one and focus everyone on trying to review and be comfortable with one single proposal that adds both SCV, SNP, and TDX? Or is that also, I mean, controversial? We should keep those two things separate.
Um, I'm not entirely opposed to it. Um, just like the proposal, right? And keep the actual code implementation separate. I think
No,
that's
yeah,
fine.
because
I'm fine with that.
I think that the reviewers, I'm trying to make it easy for the reviewers to make a decision, right, about this. And I'm not a reviewer, so I mean, just using my experience from other projects. The reviewers here will need to look at two commits, two PRs, and make sure that they are consistent, right? So if I was a maintainer, I would be actually asking, hey, can you guys, I mean, make this one proposal? Because then I need to look at just one place and make sure that they are consistent, right?
Yeah, that's true. I have been referencing his proposal to see if I'm aligning up correctly with the community.
Klaus, I think that's a good proposal. I've been thinking something similar myself. It would give like a holistic view of the feature that we are enabling when we have like two different technologies that we can see together in one enhancement proposal, and then of course the code PRs themselves could go in separate review cycles. But the enhancement proposal, it would be good to have it like unified.
And
Okay,
then on
yeah.
the hardware, I mean, maybe we should just, I mean, declare what we believe we need. I mean, I'm not sure if KubeVirt has other similar situations, like, I mean, any special hardware, I don't know, for example, Z or whatever, I mean, any, or even ARM. I mean, how do we um, fulfill the special hardware requirements for upstream KubeVirt, right?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure how, but Brian has contacted some contacts at AMD to get some hardware. I'm just helping him maintain it. I don't know, is he on the call? No. But maybe somebody from the CI could help us with this, because maybe they can use the same process they did to get a server from AMD on like IBM or ARM or Intel if it's not already there.
Yeah, so we have clusters from ARM now as well, or at least being set up again. And it's pretty straightforward. I think we just need to get a contact to Brian or Daniel, our CI folks upstream. And they typically just ask for an encrypted kubeconfig that can connect into a particular environment. There's a whole load of other requirements as well, but it is pretty straightforward. So yeah, in terms of getting something from Intel, sorry about the background noise. Yeah, if we can get a contact, I think that's the first step.
I think it's Miko. Miko, you mentioned, right, that you were looking at this?
Yes, but I don't have the hardware available for this work just yet. I've been out on vacation for the past 3 weeks or so, but before my vacation, I spent a bit of time trying to understand like how KubeVirt CI works and how do we bring in new hardware to it. I now have a pretty good understanding how that's done, but I still don't have like a system at hand I could bring over, but I'm working on it.
Okay. Do you want me to bring that up with Puneet?
Yep, we could check with him as well if he has a system available, if he would have a system available for this work. Sure.
Okay. I'll send just an email. Okay. I think it's also, I mean, the good status, right? We just tell Puneet, I mean, where we are. And and mention what are possible next steps, right? So. All right, I guess those are the kind of two things, right? I mean, if we have those two things, it feels like we make it very easy for any reviewer, and then I mean that's a separate thing. I mean, who is going to be kind of confident enough to review those and merge the first version, right? But I mean, we can cross that bridge when we get there. But with those two things, it feels like we make it sufficiently easy for a reviewer to feel comfortable in reviewing and approving those two patches, right? That
Yeah,
initial step.
I agree. But so are we all in agreement that the VEP should be combined, or should we wait till the next meeting to decide that?
We've got both authors on the call right now, right? And if both are happy combining, I think we should go ahead with that.
I think that's fine. I'm okay with that. We can probably just continue using this one, the one that's already up, and I'll delete my PR and just basically move everything over into this doc for now.
Matthias, do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do you guys have each other's contact, and so you can work offline? And I guess so, right?
I don't, but well, I can't hear him. He sounds far away.
Well,
Is he on
just drop
Slack?
the.
Yeah. Is he on Slack?
I don't know. I am not. So.
Oh, there's a lot of.
No, I'm not.
Okay. What's the best way to contact you then?
I can join the Slack.
Okay.
Yeah. I will try to contact you.
Okay. That works for me. We
Yeah.
can repurpose your doc if you want as well. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
hi.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, excuse me. Could you please add me
Yeah,
add
sorry.
me to the channel? Yeah.
Yes, we'll do that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and then we chase the hardware availability separately. I think that Alan already knows, I mean, who to contact to provide access to AMD systems, and me and Nico will try to follow up on the Intel end too. Okay.
Okay. That sounds good. There isn't anything else. I guess that's it for today. Thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you. Good meeting, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.